I love seeing new things come across my build desk here at Robeytech, and ever since I saw the BTF components at CES 2024 from ASUS, I have been waiting patiently for my hands-on time with these beautiful new products. Mr. Matt Lee, I was so jealous when you got it first. Well, guess what? The wait is over, and on a recent live stream, we got a chance to get our hands on and build a full BTF system. GPU, motherboard, and case, all using ASUS's new GT302 ARGB case. The cool thing though about this video is that if you actually wanted to go out and mimic this build, you could actually go buy a bundle from ASUS that included the GPU, the motherboard, and the case, leaving you to only choose your CPU, PSU, cooler, RAM, and storage. But you're probably thinking, you know, that's nice, I can buy it, but I want to know more before I do. Well, hold on to your butts, because we're gonna go building it in just a second. But before we jump in, do me a solid and slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and jingle that notification bell so that you don't miss videos with all the latest and greatest hardware and more. But before that, a quick word from our video sponsor. If you've just built or upgraded your PC and now that Windows watermark just saying activate Windows is just sitting in your face, don't panic. VIP-CDKdeals.com is here to help. VIP-CDK Deals offers legitimate software activation keys at a fraction of the retail price. We're talking deep discounts on Windows 10 and 11, Home and Pro versions, plus Microsoft Office, Steam keys, and so much more. You can even use code RBCK at checkout for an additional 30% off. Check out VIP-CDKdeals.com today and get back to enjoying your PC without that watermark. Okay, enough advertising, let's build. Today we're basically doing a build inside of the ASUS BTF, the Back to the Future series, and we're going to show you the Back Connect system for ASUS and really just kind of enjoy seeing this, because unlike the one that we've done for Project Zero, which we gave away the Pano a couple months ago, with this one specifically, we are going to be doing this one. The power to the GPU is also part of the Back Connect system, so we will not have any cables in the front in terms of the EPS, the CPU, the GPU, though we will have some, of course, obviously doing with the AIO as well. This is the motherboard right here. This is the ASUS TUF. We have the Z790-BTF motherboard. Okay, here we go, 97. Zeiston coming back. Is it going to be it? 95.5 on the first one. It was a solid click. I felt that in my left little toe, but I don't know if it's going to hit 97, guys. Okay, so one of the fun things about using BTF is it doesn't necessarily mean there's no cables, it just means that the cables are in the back. So this is it. This is the RG Strix LC3 360 ARGB. So one thing I actually appreciate is that they do a really good job. Hey, Lich Lord Necros, thank you very much for the sub. They do a really good job of the boxing for these. So they're actually very well boxed. There we go. thing is because of how this works, we can actually route all of this stuff through these cable holes up here, which makes it really nice. Same thing with these. Okay, so there's that. Let's grab our beautiful GPU. There we go. Okay guys, here is that beautiful GPU, and then you can see here, there is the extra power. There is no other power on this, right? So there's not going to be any other cables. And then remember, so that's going to plug right into this right here. It's a little bit different than what we're used to. And now we have power. So all we need is the 3 PCI and the 24 pin. There's our PSU. And we have lots of room. Look at that. This is why I love these cables. Ugh. Let's go to side mode here. It does close. 3, 2, 1. Oh, snap. Okay, so now that you've seen the build, the rest of the video is actually going to be a bit different than the other cut downs we do because I wanted to spend a bit more time talking about building using ASUS's new BTF system. Then we'll jump into airflow, thermals, and performance, so get ready for a ride. So as a brief overview, there are currently 2 active back connect ecosystems that exist right now, and those are MSI's Project Zero and ASUS's BTF or Back to the Future ecosystems. No, not the movie. Yes, it's a weird name. They are actually very similar, except that Project Zero can use standard GPUs only, while the ASUS BTF actually has the ability to use any normal GPU and also the special edition BTF compatible GPUs like the ones we used in this build. The difference is in fact that ASUS has developed the ability to deliver power through their BTF motherboards via these connections in the back that can use either 3 8-pins or a 16-pin connection. Now the only thing worth noting is that in order to use the Project Zero or BTF systems, you do need to have a supporting case like the one we have here, the ASUS GT302 ARGB. These cases have additional cutouts that provide access to the back connections on the motherboard versus having the connections on the front. So in order to be able to fit the motherboards into the case and also connect all your connectors like your 24-pin and EPS connectors, you need to make sure that you have those cutouts and a supporting case. So now that you know what back connect is, how does one do a back connect build using the ASUS BTF in the GT302, and how cool is it? Well, to be honest, it's mostly pretty painless, until we got to having to make sure that all the back connections actually fit inside the case. But let's just say a bit more about using the case. ASUS looks like they took a snapshot of the Corsair 5000D and made it better in every way they could. The case is easy to build in, the fans are amazing, and the little cable cover inside is a much better fit for standard builds than the very thin one on the Corsair 5000D. A couple of places where the case falls down though is in the cable management department. And no, I'm not just talking about my kind of cable management, I'm talking about the kind that you need to actually finish a BTF build. So for the most part, getting everything else kind of connected and ready to go is pretty straightforward. But then when you need to connect your PSU up to the build, this is where things get a little more challenging, a lot more challenging, depending on who you are. Now, first off, if you're looking to do a build in this case, you need to know that you have to use a PSU with a very specific type of cabling. Now, most PSUs use very thick, kind of unwieldy cables that aren't very malleable. But what you actually need in this build are cables that come with like PSUs like the Tough Gaming Gold, which you've seen me actually use a ton, or the ASUS RG Aura Edition PSUs, or like the one we actually used here, the ASUS Strix 850 watt. These cables, the cables that come with these PSUs, are easy to compress, are malleable to the point where you can actually close the back panel of the PC because you can actually bend them down. Now, I consider myself, and I think many of you would consider me, a bit of a cable management aficionado. But even with my very clean cable management, I still barely got the back panel to close. So that's the one thing to be very aware of if you're building inside of the case. Now, for standard builds that aren't back connect, this is kind of a moot point. So if you want to use it for that, just ignore kind of everything I mentioned. Though, you are going to have to take some time to unwire and rewire. And wire, what I mean is move some factory wires and fan cables to get them to work. Given it's kind of pre-wired to work for their ASUS BTF system. But that's really not unlike many cases that come with pre-wired and pre-cable managed fans, where you're going to have to do some removal of the cable management to actually make it hook up and then perform. So now that you know all it is and you're versed in what to expect from the building, then how does it actually perform in thermals and gaming? Well, let's start with how we did with airflow in this case. Now, we didn't change the default configuration here, but kind of stuck with what ASUS sent us in the case, given it's actually pretty standard for cases of this nature. We intake air to cool the Intel Core i7-14700K in the ASUS TUF Z790 BTF motherboard from 3 massive 140mm ARGB fans that come with the GT302 ARGB. Then air is fed into the ASUS TUF RTX 4070 Ti Super BTF GPU and up into the ASUS RG Strix LC3 360mm AIO, as well as out the rear exhaust 140mm ARGB fan. Again, it's a slightly positive pressure situation, though the large 8mm square holes all over the case doesn't mean that it's going to be much. So given the airflow situation, what did this actually mean for the cooling of this build? Well, with MCE off and only running stock at Intel settings, which everybody should be doing, by the way, well, right off the bat, we knew something was a little bit different on the stream because the idle, we were looking at a nice and cool 32 degrees. But when we crank things up and put the pedal to the metal, hitting a Cinebench score of just shy of 32K, we were topping out at 74 on a 14700K. So you have plenty of headroom to play with the CPU and do some overclocking. Oh, and another thing very much worth mentioning is that it is very quiet under load, 52 decibels. Now, GPU was a similar story with an idle temperature around 36 degrees, but for gaming we saw things peak out at 57, which is also great, and also super low. Now, I know I mentioned the CPU load noise, but when gaming the decibels were only 47 decibels. So yeah, you can barely hear this thing when it's gaming. It's just like this. Now, speaking of gaming, how did this thing actually do when doing some gaming tests, Robey? Well, we tackled a few games in our testing, and of course, one of them had to be Cyberpunk 2077. So first off, cranking things up to max, meaning ray tracing overdrive, path tracing, ray reconstruction, DLSS set to auto, no frame generation. At 1440p, we saw this thing hitting 70 frames per second on average. So let's make it even more taxing on the 4070 Ti Super and turn on all DLSS and add on DLA with ray tracing on Ultra, and how about, you know what, 52.24. And this will be the cleanest, sharpest Cyberpunk 2077 will ever look on any PC. Finally, we just go to good old normal Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing and Ultra, DLSS set to balanced, and no frame generation. The way that CD Projekt Red meant for it to be played, and we're looking at a nice and solid average of 106 FPS. Yes, you could add frame gen, but you don't really need it. Lastly, and to keep things current, we decided to check out Ghost of Tsushima, the latest PlayStation PC port from the team at Sucker Punch, and another showcase and highly anticipated title for us PC players. We have been waiting so long. It's going to be my Computex title. Well, cranking all the knobs, meaning 1440p, graphics set to max, DLAA enabled, no frame generation, we are running it without DLSS. It is basically 1440p greatness. It's sitting 95 frames per second. So about as beautiful as you could want this game to look, and definitely going to make for an awesome gameplay experience with this near silent build. Okay, so there you have it. The build experience, the thermals, some gameplay performance, all in this 2500 build we built inside of the ASUS TUF GT302 ARGB. Now, if you're looking to do a similar build, remember, you can just go over to ASUS and buy everything bundled, and then just pair it with a 14.7 or any Intel 14th gen CPU or 13th gen, because they don't have an AMD version. Hopefully now you know what to expect and how to make your build experience awesome. But enough about what I think. What do you think? What are your thoughts on BTF and Back to the Future, or Back Connect in general? Are you looking to do one of these in your own in the future? What do you think of this build? Let us know all that and more down in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, make sure you slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss videos like this one. And if you have questions, you want to talk more about it and meet with other like-minded PC and tech enthusiasts, head on over to our Discord server, discord.gg/Robeytech, where they'd love to chat with you about this. And you know what? You might just make a friend. And we all need friends, especially dumb Brian. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Follow us at Robeytech absolutely everywhere, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.